Welcome to Tech NewsBite, your essential download in a world that is moving at lightning speed. All right, in the next few minutes, we're cutting through all the noise, and I mean all of it. We've gone through over 2,400 tech news articles from just the last day to give you exactly what you need to know. No fluff, I promise. And to kick things off, let's circle back to that bombshell I dropped. At Spotify, some of their top engineers, they're not really coding anymore. Nope, they're managing AI agents that do the coding for them. I mean, if that doesn't feel like the ground is literally shifting under our feet, I don't know what does. Okay, let's get right into it. Our first big story today is what I'm calling the AI money tsunami. We're talking about an absolutely unbelievable amount of cash flooding into artificial intelligence. And trust me, it's making some serious waves. So first up, Anthropic. They just closed a funding round for, wait for it, $30 billion. But here's the crazy part. A huge chunk of that cash, it's not for fancy new offices or perks. It's just to pay the electric bill. Seriously, the massive energy bills for their data centers. Turns out this whole AI boom, it literally runs on pure power. And that $30 billion? Well, that catapults Anthropic's valuation to a mind-bending $380 billion. Look, this isn't just another funding round. This is a declaration of war in the AI arms race, and they've got their sights aimed squarely at their biggest rival, OpenAI. So think of this like a heavyweight boxing match. In one corner, you've got the challenger, Anthropic, flush with cash and making a big deal about AI safety. And in the other corner, the reigning champ, OpenAI, who's busy dodging punches about copying models and dealing with all sorts of IP drama. The stakes, they honestly could not be higher. And you know, while these giants are duking it out, the shockwaves are heading straight for the rest of us. The AI chief at Microsoft, Mustafa Suleyman, just dropped this absolute bombshell of a prediction. He said most white-collar jobs will be automated. Not in 10 years, not in 5, but within 18 months. The real question is anybody ready for that? You know, all this power, all this money, it naturally leads us to our next big theme, big tech's trust issues. Because with great power comes, well, a whole lot of scrutiny. These companies are finding out the hard way that the public and the regulators are watching their every single move. And for a perfect example, look no further than what just went down with Amazon's Ring. They ran this big Super Bowl ad for a new partnership with a police surveillance tech company called Flock Safety. And it did not go over well. At all. I mean, this quote from social media just says it all. Our dystopian future is now sponsored. The backlash was just instant, and it was huge. People weren't seeing security, they were seeing a sponsored surveillance state. And they absolutely flooded social media to let Amazon know how they felt about it. And the result of all that noise? Well, public pressure actually worked. Ring straight up canceled the partnership. Get this, the news reports we saw even noted that the whole controversy made a bunch of people physically rip their Ring cameras off their walls. That's a massive corporate backpedal, and it was driven entirely by people like you and me. And it's not just Amazon. The heat is on everywhere. The FTC is turning up the dial on its investigation into Microsoft's power in AI and the cloud. At the same time, Meta's just plowing ahead with facial recognition in its Ray-Ban glasses, which is sparking a furious privacy debate. And then you have OpenAI, who's in this global squabble, accusing a Chinese firm of copying their models. The trust gap, it's getting wider by the day. Right, so all this digital magic has to run on actual physical stuff, right? So let's pivot and talk about the hardware that powers it all and the very real headaches that are starting to pop up. So if you've tried to buy a new laptop lately, you've probably felt this in your wallet. There's a major memory chip shortage that's sending RAM prices through the roof. And it's not just hitting us regular folks, it's making it way more expensive for the big guys like Amazon and Microsoft to run their massive cloud data centers. And from the looks of it, this crunch isn't ending anytime soon. So who's playing this game well and who's not? We've got some clear hits and misses. In the hits column, AMD is getting a lot of love for launching a new chip at a discount. Smart move. And NVIDIA is making some clever money moves by leasing out data center space. But in the misses column, the early buzz on Samsung's next Galaxy phone is kind of meh. We're hearing minor updates for higher price. And then there's Apple, who's still dragging their feet on that big AI-powered Siri update and the forever-rumored foldable iPhone. Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because none of this tech stuff happens in a bubble, right? It's reshaping everything, from entertainment to global politics, becoming a brand new battleground. If you look at the overall vibe from today's news, it is a total mixed bag. You've got AI and business, full of both incredible promise and serious risks. Security, as we've seen, is a huge concern. But look, there's a bright spot. Gaming is still the super vibrant positive space, just fueled by huge investments and a ton of new big-name releases that are getting players genuinely hyped. But when you look at the global stage, things are definitely getting tense. The United Nations just gave the green light to its first ever global panel on AI's impact. Now, the real story here, the juicy part, is that this happened even though the United States was against it. That signals a massive split in how the world's superpowers want to handle this crazy powerful technology. And you can see these different strategies playing out all over the map. The US, they're using regulators like the FTC to poke around and investigate. The EU is busy writing the official rulebook. China is just going full speed ahead, a total development blitz. Meanwhile, you've got India trying to become a major AI hub, and the Middle East is pouring oil money into AI for public services. The great game for AI dominance is officially on.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground, from billions in funding to global politics. So let's bring it all back home and focus on the most important part. What does any of this actually mean for you? So here's your mission if you choose to accept it. The big takeaway from today is to act now. Number 1, start preparing for workforce automation. Seriously, that 18-month prediction isn't some far-off future. It's a massive wake-up call. Number 2, beef up your digital privacy. That whole backlash against surveillance is real, and it's only getting bigger. 3, if your job or just your life depends on tech, you need to start planning for hardware shortages and higher prices. And finally, if you're in business, it is absolutely time to get serious about your AI governance plan, because the rules of the road are being written right now. So, if you had to bottle up the mood in tech right now, what would it be? I think it's this: cautious optimism. On one hand, the excitement and the money flowing in are just completely off the charts. But on the other hand, all of that is getting slammed with some very real, very serious pushback from regulators, from us consumers, and just the hard realities of the global market. And that leaves us with a big, lingering question of the day. As we pour hundreds of billions of dollars into making AI smarter and more capable at this breathtaking speed, what exactly are we building here? Are we building a helpful co-pilot, something to make us better, or are we accidentally building our own replacement? And that is your download for today. For a deeper dive on all these stories and a whole lot more, make sure you visit newsbite.tech for more tech news and bites.